Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Cruise Inc. Radio. I am Cruz, the Beast from the East, your host for the night. We are here in Richmond, Virginia on this terrific Thursday. It is 68 degrees here in the Cap City, and we've had a beautiful day. Hope that you've had a great day as well. Tonight, we're talking with a journalist by the name of Bassem Masri. It has been over 50 plus days since college-bound Michael Brown was killed by Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson. Tonight we'll talk live with Bassem from Ferguson, Missouri. Bassem is an independent journalist. He indicates that he is a country reporter, Palestinian American activist, and journalist. It was just recently, within the last week, that he and some others were detained by Ferguson Police Department. They were pulled over, and then the following day is well chronicled that he was arrested, and while he was in police custody, had his vehicle broken into. The question that on my mind and probably a lot of others is, was he and others that are on the front line of Ferguson being unjustly targeted? We're going to find that out tonight as we talk with this courageous young man and get some of the insight of what's going on in Ferguson, what has been happening in Ferguson right after this commercial break. Welcome back to Cruise Inc. Radio. I am Cruz, the Beast from the East, with you tonight, and I'd like to welcome to the mic Bassem. Bassem, how you doing this evening?
Hey, what's going on, Cruz? How you doing, man?
I'm doing just fine, my brother. I certainly, again, want to say thank you for taking time out of your schedule and being with us here tonight on Cruise Inc. Radio. Before we get into it, I'd like for you to tell everybody a little bit about, where you're from and, what you do, a little bit about you.
Oh, well, I born and raised in St. Louis, Ferguson area. Been doing sales, and marketing my whole life. And been real active in, protests and stuff for Palestine my whole life. And, when Michael Brown happened, I was down there a few hours after it happened. And once I started seeing the misconceptions of, the media lying about what's going on, I immediately, saw, that I had to help, because I was, pretty experienced in that area, Not like when people, or like as far as the media lying about what's going on and, the struggle that's going on, for example, and it really hurts whenever you have a whole race of people or a whole, like a city demonized because of a few acts that went down,
And that's a good segue, because my next question was to you is kind of describe the people of Ferguson, because as you just mentioned, and the media, the city of Ferguson has been demonized. People think that they're just a bunch of wild, gangsters and things like that. Give us, your insight about the city of Ferguson and the people there.
Well, Ferguson is St. Louis, St. Louis County. It's all the same, and people say, how bad the Ferguson Police Department is. Well, this is not the worst one in the area, just what you guys know. And the way is, Ferguson, St. Louis is, it's the biggest, smallest city in the world, as far as St. Louis. It's a very big sense of community there. And there's always had a high crime rate here. It's not anything new. So when a lot of this stuff happens, they begin to immediately think of protesters and this and that, when this has been like this for years and years in St. Louis. But as far as on the streets and what we're doing down on the streets from now on, and from after Mike got killed, a lot of that stuff really, with the gangbang and all that stuff, kind of got put to the side, and we've all been unified to make our community a lot better.
And you're right, because I've seen photos from that area where you have allegedly Crips and Bloods that are standing side by side. You have people that from different parts of the hood and everything. They all are unified behind this cause. Now, When you first went to the scene, what was your initial feelings and reactions once you got to the scene? What Mike had been murdered at?
You know, when I got there, it was like maybe an hour after they had put the body up, you know. And I didn't go into Canfield, but I was all up and down West Florissant. And, you know, what I really saw was, you know, the police letting everybody doing what they were doing as far as the violence and everything, and the police were attacking the media and the peaceful protesters. You know, that's what I saw, you know. And for my reminiscence, as soon as I saw the tanks rolling down, the tear gas being fired, I immediately saw the West Bank, you know, where my family's from in Palestine, where I lived for a couple of years. You know, the checkpoints that they erected, everything was just, it reminded me so much of the struggles that we went through overseas that, you know, I immediately was just like, I'm staying here. I have to, you know, I immediately started documenting. I made my Twitter that day. I never used really social media that much before Michael Brown. You know, when the Gaza conflict started, that's when I started using Facebook for the first time, you know, since it ever started. I created it a long time, but I never used it. But when Michael Brown got killed and all this stuff was happening, that's when I made the Twitter. That's when I decided that I need to be helping the public be aware of what's going on. And the only way that I could do that without me looking like a liar is with live stream. So we put that we implemented that, and that's been what's been keeping the media and the police accountable. You know, there's stuff that went down that, you know, Channel 4 News or somebody would go say that this and this happened, but then they would refer to our live streams, and they'll be like, okay, and then have to change it up. You know, we even have video of where the News Channel 4 reporter directly saw what was going on in the crowd. He saw it with his own eyes because I saw him, and he directly went to the camera and reported a lie. So that's the type of stuff that we have to avoid. You know, when they're specifically trying to demonize us as, you know, oh, the community doesn't like them and this and that. Well, they don't see that the businesses, you know, let us use their facilities. They give us food, they give us sodas, and they're supporting us with this because this police oppression, the predator police problem that we've had in St. Louis is unlike any other city I've ever seen in my life. And I've traveled for my job, West Coast, down south to Texas. I've never seen a police force like St. Louis in my life. I've been here my whole life. I have 40-plus arrests for just traffic tickets. They extort people for the littlest things when we have major problems in the city. You know, we have a heroin epidemic, we have a gun problem, but they consistently just, you know, push on traffic, on locking people up and keeping them in a hole so that any time, you know, you guys saw the stats, you know, 33,000 warrants or so, whatever, you know, in a town of 20-some thousand people. That's more warrants than there is people. That's not counting children and old folks. That means they're able to go and just take anybody off the street and be like, oh, well, we took him in for warrants. And that would be the reason why they detained you and they searched you, and then they end up giving you more charges. You know what I'm saying? So it's a rough cycle. And that's what we're trying to stop. You know, we're trying to, number one, get justice for Mike Brown, arrest Darren Wilson. That's our number one goal. Number two is to stop and halt these aggressive policies that police in St. Louis County and all across the nation have implemented, where they have not started to extorting our communities, which are, you know, middle class poor people. And, you know, money's not been good, obviously, so they've been replacing this budgeting with our money, and they're using our tax money to do this to us, to oppress us, and that's something that we're going to have to stop. They serve us, we don't serve them.
So would you say that basically a lot of this had been festering, and after Mike was killed,
years and years,
it was kind of like the catalyst that brought all this to the head of people that had been frustrated for from whatever decades of this type of abuse. Is that correct?
It's correct. Very correct. You couldn't have said it any better. There's a lot of resentment, there's a lot of all that has been festering for years, especially with, like, you know, when I thought I was alone, you know, but I knew that we had these aggressive policies. When I traveled and I never got harassed by police, I was like, oh, wow, St. Louis is different, you know. When Michael Brown got killed and I seen the anger in everybody's eyes and it related to me, it's the same anger that I feel inside of me, I know that this is a problem that is not going to be solved with an indictment. It's not going to be solved with anything but change. That's it.
You know, and
Indicting
speaking about
and convicting Darren Wilson is not going to stop this, you know.
Yeah, exactly, and I want to hold off on that point because there's some questions that came in tonight off of Twitter that people wanted. That they want to ask you. But I want to go back to I think it was Saturday night or Sunday night, if I'm not mistaken. You have to correct me on this. That you and a couple of friends were in your vehicle, and you all were we're going to a destination. Kind of give us a little bit of what transpired, because when I was receiving the reports from my team that was monitoring you all and on your live stream, I couldn't believe what was going on at that time.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened was basically, we were on Florissant Road Police Station. We're doing our thing. We're marching. That day we had a problem with police arresting people on the sidewalk for just standing there because they were protesting while they were blocking the whole road with 20 police cars. It was crazy. But anyway, so, we get reports that a police officer was shot, So we go up to the scene. The first thing that actually what was said was that somebody was shot and killed. A police officer was shot, and the police officer shot and killed a person, So we were very angry, So we went up there. All of us went up there, and they're doing a manhunt for the person that shot the cop, and we don't know what's going on because obviously we don't trust anything that they say because of how many times they've lied to us. And we're protesting, and we're trying to see what's going on. It's about 1 o'clock or so we're clearing out of the area, and we get more reports that there was another shooting on Highway 70 and 170. So we're gonna go check that out too. We want to give,
right.
The live streams don't lie, so we put them up so that, that there can't be any lies. So, we're pulled out of the gas station. As soon as we pulled out of the gas station where we had parked, we got flagged, Now, before we had got flagged, there was a commotion in the streets. There was a lot of police officers running around and stuff like that. A state trooper dropped his radio, in the middle of the street. So one of my buddies picks up the radio and is like, oh, this cop radio or whatever it was. We really didn't trip off of it because it was such a, fast scene going on. We got in the car. We're trying to get to the new scene. And as soon as we get, out the driveway or whatever, they pull us over, like, bam. So, even if, hypothetically speaking, we did pick up the radio off the ground or we stole it or whatever, police shouldn't wait till you get in your car to pull you over. They should tell you right then and there, hey, man, what's up with that radio, No, they're waiting for us to get in the car first, So they come to the car, and, I know my rights. Many times I've been arrested, you don't have PC, probable cause, you can't take my ID, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm a passenger in the car. I am not in the driver's seat. And as a matter of fact, him taking my ID right then and there was illegal too. Or trying to, take me out of the car and detain me, that was actually an illegal detainment because he didn't have PC to do that. So always before, because I deal with this warrant issue a lot, anytime they stop me, before they run my name, because there are cops that will let you go. I'm not going to say that all of them are bad. I can't say that, So I tell them, I'm like, yo, my dude, I got warrants. If you're not trying to take people in for warrants, don't run my name. Sometimes they don't run your name and they let you go. You have to let them know beforehand before they run your name, because if they run your name, they have no choice. They have to take you in. So I tell them that, and they're like, okay, get out of the car. They detain me. And that night, their Regis system, which is their the system that they use to look up the warrants, was down. So they couldn't look up my warrants. I have traffic warrants all over the place. I have never done nothing else besides that. So they had to kick me loose. They kicked me loose, and then the next morning, city police was stalking me, waiting for me. And I did not get arrested by Ferguson police. I got arrested by city police. My car was not in Ferguson. It was about 15 miles away, about 10, 15 minutes away from Ferguson, in the city. My car was left on the side of the road, unlocked. I was on my way to do my laundry. All my clothes got stolen, my iPad, my MacBook, etc., cameras, everything got taken out the car. I can't say that it was police because I don't have proof that it was. but somebody stole it. You know what I'm saying? And obviously media got a hold of that, and they thought it was a pretty interesting story. So, it kind of took off from there.
And when I heard about it, I'm like, okay, it sounds like this brother was targeted because, they had every opportunity at that time, to during the first detainment, to do whatever, and then, subsequently the next day. My understanding is you didn't break any law, you didn't run a traffic sign or anything when they pulled you over.
Nope.
So obviously, and I'd say this cautiously, that evidently they were watching you or telling you, or something had to be occurring at that time.
Well, I got pulled over like about 2 blocks away from where I live, so yeah.
Wow. And during that time, somebody took the opportunity, and I mean, we're talking about an opportunist, somebody that was, to break, not necessarily breaking in your car, but violate you and take your personal items at that time.
Correct.
That's got to be crazy, man.
But, I've been getting support from all over the country, man. I put up U-Care donations, man, like yesterday, day before yesterday, man. Already there's about $1,300 in there. I'm using, my iPad, MacBook, all that stuff is not really important to the movement right now. I really don't need that. I just need stuff to stream. So I got that stuff, and what I'm using with the money now is to get stream into more protesters' hands. People on the front line that, I use this, they call me, I put activist journalist for a reason. I didn't put journalist activist because on top of everything I'm an activist. I use that stream to protect us, protesters, above anything else. And I say this all the time. Whoever's watching is just observing. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. You're protecting us by watching. And that's how, I'm on the front line every time. I'm not, on the sides like most of the other media are, the other streamers, from far away. I'm in the middle of the crowd. I am actually protesting. You can hear me yelling and screaming. I am very angry at the police. I have resentment against them. They have extorted me my whole life. I can say with confidence from the last, since I was 16 till now, I've paid maybe $50,000 in bonds and fines and lawyers and everything. And for somebody from my age, 27 years old, I can't get a license until 2019, and I haven't had it since I was 19. So, I mean, they try to make you a second-class citizen by doing this. I don't know anybody that has a driver's license in St. Louis. Everybody that I talk to is suspended or revoked. It's just a cycle that they keep. I swear to God, brother, everybody has warrants. Even people who have, jobs and are respectable people have warrants because you just can't afford it. You get tickets, $300. I got the tickets that I have right now, right? I did a month on them last year, right? They wouldn't give me no bond. It was ridiculously high. I sat there for 20 days in Hazelwood jail, and I kept going back and forth every week to the judge. And if I didn't have money to bond out, he would send me back to jail. And then when I got out of jail, I didn't get no time served or nothing. I still have to pay the tickets, and I still have to pay them right now. So they still took all that time from me, and I still have to pay them that money. It's not fair, you know what I'm saying? Even criminals that go and do assaults and this and that, when they go to jail, they come out and they're free with traffic tickets. The lowest thing that you can possibly do, they treat you like a straight criminal. When I was locked up the other day in City, I was in a cell with 35 people. They were great people, but half of them had armed criminal actions and they put you in jail with stone cold murderers, and you just have traffic warrants,
That's insanity. And let me tell the audience that's listening right now via the internet, at 11:30, we're going to start streaming, but if you want to listen to the rest of the broadcast, you need to call right now, 323-693-3317, because we're about to get into some deep questions here. We had some that come in from Twitter that we're going to be asking Bassem, and he has agreed to be are brutally honest and candid on these questions. So again,
Yeah,
we
I
don't
don't
want
hide
you to miss
nothing,
any of this broadcast. You need to call in right now. 323-693-3317 is the number that you can call and hear the entire show. All right, I want to get to the first question here. And again, this one was a little bit personal. Young lady by the name of Linda sent in this question via Twitter. She wanted to know, why were you cheering when the cop was shot?
Yeah. Well, whenever you've been tear gassed, shot at with rubber bullets, assaulted, arrested 50 plus times, demanded that you go home every single night, you know what I'm saying, and extorted, then you can tell me why, you know what I'm saying. Now this anger that you see out of us, this quote unquote rage that people keep saying, the quote unquote that we have, this doesn't just come to us. We didn't wake up one day hating the police. This is how it just happened, you know what I'm saying. And when you're in the middle of something like that, emotions can run high. So later on I thought about it and I posted on Twitter. I apologize for that. I was like, that was irresponsible. Above all, we are all human beings. And I do understand that cops are human beings too. I got nothing against good cops. But the way I feel is that if you are silent, if you do not check your brothers, would that have that badge, then you're just as guilty. And if you, quote unquote, can, say that I'm your enemy because I protest against you, then it feels the same way. I feel the same way against you. I hate the police. I hate them. With every being in my body, I fucking hate them. I'm sorry for the language, and I don't condone violence. But when they do that to us on a daily basis, and then somebody was scared. That person who shot that officer wasn't trying to hurt the police. He was scared from the police. He was scared from his life. So he defended himself, And
right.
My reaction was to be happy about it, which was, I'll be honest right now, not the right reaction. But it's the reaction that I had. And I'm not going, bullshit about it or nothing. That's how I feel. I don't like these people.
I appreciate that honesty there. The next question that comes in, it says, what is the plan if there is no indictment of Darren Wilson?
Well, that's a great question. I really can't predict the future. But from me, what I know, there is no statute of limitations on murder. And we're going to keep advocating for that indictment if it doesn't come down. Now, from all the witnesses, everything that we got, I'm 100% sure an indictment's going to come down. You know what I'm saying? I'm not too. I believe that it will. A conviction, I don't know, but an indictment, I can say that it's going to happen. But if it doesn't happen, I can give you a brief, about what might happen. It's now what I can tell you is that the people that are on the front line every day, I can say this with 100% confidence, have never done any violence whatsoever since Mike Brown has been killed. None of the people on the front line that you guys see in those pictures were involved in any kind of looting or any kind of vandalism or anything like that. When we're out here every single day, we are role models for the other people. And ever since we've started to have a heavy presence in Ferguson, that violence, you barely see it. Protesters are emulating what we do because we're going at it in a peaceful way, but we are still resisting. We're playing a cat and mouse game with them. You tell us we can't do something, we're going to do it. We're going to shut down streets. We're going to do civil disobedience. We're going to mess up your money. We're going to do it in a peaceful manner. You know what I'm saying? And the bottom line is we are, we can go and, like they can think we're going to go and destroy our community, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is we're going to start using our political power. We're going to start voting, and we are going to start using economics as well.
That sounds like a great plan, and I think people just feel that there is no structure. And from what I've been seeing and following the timeline and following those that are on the front line, and like I think it's Shorty, Whoopi. I probably mess up a name, but there are a lot of people out there in Ferguson that are, grassroots that are organized and doing a terrific job. And I want to ask you
we have a lot of great
more
organizations
questions here.
out here.
Yeah, definitely, and a lot of support. One of the questions before I get into about the grand jury misconduct, do you feel that America is more polarized now or unified since the killing of Mike Brown?
At first, you can say with the way the media was portraying Ferguson and the people in Ferguson, they were absolutely. They weren't trying to convict or Darren Wilson. They were trying to convict Michael Brown. But over the course of the last 52 days, more and more people are becoming aware of what's actually going down, what we're actually doing in the streets, and what kind of change we're trying to implement. And a lot more people are coming towards our way. And you can see that in the support through social media all over the nation and financially as well. People aren't going to be donating money or donating, their time on social media or even if it wasn't for a righteous cause, you know what I'm saying? And people are tired, man. People are so scared. There's thousands and thousands of Fergusons all over the nation. There was a case in Florida. This man 62 times arrested at his job for trespass. That type of police. When you have predator police forces working for these rogue local governments, they are a cancer to society, and it does not. For us, the modern society that we have these days, with the transparency that we have on the internet, with the way the truth can get out, the way everything, people think that the world's coming to an end when really the world's always been this crazy. It's just everything is just, you can just see everything now. You know what I'm saying? You can see everything clearly. So everything's the same. Everything's the same. It's just, what you have to know is the bottom line, the police serve us, we don't serve them, and we're going to let them. We're going to change that. We're going to change the way for our communities be policed. Hopefully in 10 years, what comes out of Ferguson is that when the police get behind you, you feel protected. You don't feel nervous. That's the goal of Ferguson.
And it's
we want
interesting
to be protected by our protectors.
Right. August Streaming News just posted on Twitter that protesters have just left Shop and Save and have full police cars following them in the rain, and so it's pouring down rain out, where you guys are, and yet they're still being harassed, it appears, by police. That is crazy. What we're going to do, again, I'm letting everybody know that we're streaming live right now. In about 30 seconds, we're going to be going to an extended show. If you're listening via the internet, the only way that you'll be able to hear us is to dial in right now, 323-693-3317, because the last question that we're going to deal with here is in reference to the grand jury misconduct investigation. And then we're going to be playing a special dedication to Mike Brown and also the people that are on the front line in Ferguson. So, again, you need to call in right now, 323-693-3317. All right, Bassem. Here's what has been breaking on Twitter and across the national news now is that there's going to be a possible grand jury investigation in reference to something that was tweeted earlier this week, and this person indicated in a tweet that they knew somebody that was on the grand jury, and that there was a possibility that there wasn't going to be an indictment. First of all, is there a lot of trolling going on, and people trying to take an opportunity of this, this horrendous situation?
Oh my God, you guys have no idea. Especially the Muslims, the Arabs. I'm one of a couple of Muslims that are out there every day. Omar Lee as well. We get harassed constantly on Twitter and on Facebook, and any kind of articles they write about us, you can see in the comments all the trolling. And, it's cool with me, I've been hated against my whole life because, I'm a Palestinian, and of the views, of the people thought I was, we were conspiracy theorists for the last 66 years until, they actually figured it out. But, when it comes down to it, people can see through that, They can see through what people are trying to say and what people are trying to accomplish when it comes down to splitting up this movement or splitting up, people, When it comes down to it, if you actually pay attention to who is out there, there's just as many whites as there are blacks. There's just as many, it's a diverse movement. This isn't a race war. This is a class war. This is completely all about who is in the top 1%, and we are trying to keep the other 99% in their place. And that's really what this is. And anybody who's trying to make it about race, which I'm not going to lie, African Americans have been, brutally killed for years and years, and that's a different subject. That is racism. It's a subconscious racism of fear, where basically like Palestinians, have been demonized in the media their whole lives, cops, gangland, these publications that just, constantly put black people on the front pages for doing crimes when they don't do the same thing about white people. So constantly their whole life they've been programmed to fear black people. So whenever they become cops, and a black person is going in his pocket, he's thinking automatically he's doing something bad. He's going to shoot him, That's a big problem. Subconscious racism is worse than actual racism because that is something that you don't know that you are, And there's a lot of people that are like that. If you walk down the street and you see a black person and you're scared of that person, you're subconsciously racist. There's no reason to fear that person. There's no reason to fear a Muslim. There's no reason to fear a Palestinian. Throughout all history, the victims are always the ones that are turned into the aggressors, and the aggressors turn into the victims. That's how the media's always done it, and that's how they'll continue to do it. It's just how you have to perceive that and how you have to I've been trained my whole life not to listen to the news, not to believe anything the news say. If the news says 50 people died, that means 100 died. You know what I'm saying? And that's how people need to start knowing things. When they watch CNN, when they watch it, never look at what they're actually saying. It's bullshit, man. Look at what people are saying on the ground. Look at these live streams. Don't ever judge people off of a few bad apples that are in that race. You know what I'm saying? Or in that demographic. That's always what's happened, and that's always what it creates a rift. Now there's all these trolls on Twitter who are, the police sympathizers that, they're going to alienate themselves. That's all that's going to end up happening because the more people get aware of what's actually happening, the more support that we garner, and the more isolated that they feel. And the more isolated that they feel, the more dangerous it is for us on the street. We are nonviolent. That's number one thing for people to understand. We don't condone any violence. So when people do, they're talking about, threats and this and that, we take that stuff very seriously. And we are monitoring that stuff constantly. So if people think that they can get this stuff off and this and that, it's not going to work, And we know who's doing it. We know these propaganda agents. We know where they're at. We know what their goal is, and I just want to let them know it's not going to work. People are still coming together, white, black, Latino, Arab, Asian. We're going to come together. We're going to change this country for the better.
And that's something that I saw on your Twitter line is that you're on the front line, changing the nation one day at a time, and that speaks volume. Especially with your nationality of being Palestinian, and again with the conception of people that people have that you all are here to destroy, to break down, to tear down America and everything.
I am very patriotic for it. I'm number one in America. I was born and raised in America, And if anybody actually goes and studies Islam tells you to follow the laws of your country above anything else. If, Islam, like let's say we were to go to war, right now Islam requires me to fight with America. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it goes, You fight for where you were, you know what I'm saying? So, I am Palestinian. I have, but I'm also American, And I love this country. The the core beliefs of this country, I really, really believe in that. Liberty, freedom of speech, justice for all that stuff that they spewed us in school, which we obviously all learned is, not true. But that stuff is beautiful, man. That's what our founding fathers supposedly died for. Then, that's what we need to uphold, and that's what I'm going to, on that front line, trying to uphold. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln didn't want America to become a police state. That's not what they had in mind. So,
right.
I know that. And me being a true American, I see that, and I'm trying to change that. So, honestly, me being on that front line, I am more American than these Americans saying that I'm not American.
Now, after we were talking about this offline for a minute, after you finish the show here, your work doesn't stop tonight. You're heading where?
Hell no.
After we
we're at the show right now. We're going to go to the police department. We're out there every night till 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning protesting, because our strategy is to isolate Ferguson, and how we're going to isolate Ferguson is with money. They're going to pay the overtime. They're going to all be standing there watching us. They're not going to be writing tickets. They're going to keep arresting us, and they're going to, have so many prisoners. They're going to have to ship us all over the state or all over the municipalities, and we're going to bother the hell out of those municipalities. They're going to stop housing for Ferguson. Then they're going to become isolated. The federal government will probably have to come bail them out because of how much money they're going to have to spend, and then they'll be under federal oversight or something after that. We really have the power here. They don't. That's what they don't understand. And we're going to continue to use that power. We're going to continue to be doing what we're doing until change happens. Indicting Darren Wilson and convicting Darren Wilson is just the beginning. That's what they think that that is our number one goal, but that's not our last goal. Being out here, seeing how the police have been since Mike Brown have been killed, seeing this sick experiment in martial law, like my friend Seth Poe likes to say, we can't let this happen again. And the way to do that is to change the government, change everything about this country from the top to the bottom. When you clean house, that's what you do.
One last question, Bassem. Are you guys, most people think that this is just a sprint. Are you guys ready for the marathon, in case that there is no indictment within the next, 60 days or what have you? Is there enough people that will sustain the fight there that's at the grassroots level?
Oh, my God. The people that are on the ground are some of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life, and I'm so glad that I got to meet these people and got to, everybody that's on that front line, everybody that's there every single day. We've created this bond. And a very smart man told me, this guy's in the group Anonymous. He told me that if a resistance or a revolution fails, you still get a whole bunch of people together that have the same ideology, that have the same ideas, that want the same thing, and those people all together can facilitate change. So if this, you don't hear about Ferguson after a while, we're still over here. We're still doing what we're supposed to. This is going to be a lifelong mission here. The people that all got together, we're all going to stick together, and we're going to create a movement that's going to reflect upon how we want to live our lives and how we want our children to live. You know what I'm saying? This doesn't stop with Darren Wilson. This stops when, the police are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, and we break these barriers in race, and, hopefully, that we can start healing. The civil rights movement, has been going on for years and years. 50 years ago, there was separate water fountains, and that was only 50 years ago. That's what people don't understand. And there's going to have to be time to fix that. And right now there's still echoes of Jim Crow, of all those oppressive policies from the 1950s, 1940s. But they're just they're put into economics now instead of the law. And that is it's terrifying. It's not on the outside. It's deep. It's very deep into the lifestyle of our people. The individualism, sense of community. You know, a lot of that has went out the door. You know, ever since the 40s and the 50s and the white picket fence and the stuff that we've learned to come up with. You know, that we've learned what America was. All those morals have went down the drain. You know, and that's what we're going to be fighting for, is to bring those back. That sense of community, that sense of we're all in this together. You know, and you know, for to live peaceful and happy lives. You know, we don't want to be having to pay every single cent that we have to stay out of jail. You know what I'm saying? I've done more time in jail for traffic tickets than murderers have. You know, obviously more than Darren Wilson. You know, I don't want to have to keep using that acronym like everyone else has, but it's true. You know.
Right.
It's absolutely
and
true.
I want to say this, Bassem, because I want to give you the last word to be able to give some shout-outs and let people know I fought. But there was something that came across, our Twitter line earlier, and I want to say this while people are listening. Again, I'm echoing what my team put out earlier. We're not, on the radio or doing this for people to follow us. I can give a damn about anybody following us. All I want is people to be able to hear the truth without it being spent or sugar-coated or anything else like that. And that's why I wanted to talk with you, because I followed you and I know what you stand for. I know what the people that are with you stand for, and that, again, we're not sugarcoating a damn thing here on Cruise Inc. Radio. You're going to get the truth and nothing else but the truth, and we applaud you guys for what you're doing down there, man.
Well, we appreciate everybody's support, man. You know, without everybody's support, we wouldn't be where we're at right now, and we're not doing this for followers. We're not doing this for recognition. I do this every day for my children, for your children, for the fact that we can have them walk down the street in peace, so we can live in peace, and then everything is fine. You know what I'm saying? That's all we want. It's very simple, but it's still very hard to accomplish, and that's what we're going to be doing out here every day. The misconceptions, everybody that's that might be listening or out there in the country, we're not trying to destroy our community. We're trying to build our community. And we got to start from the top on down. That's how you clean house. You start from the top, and you work way on down. And, all these policies and stuff that's on the top, we're going to start changing those. We're going to start changing the politicians and the faces of our department, and hopefully that trickles down all through the department. And all I have to say right now, is to the cops, to the people that are doing this, you guys are going to have to pick sides. Sooner or later, you're going to have to pick sides. And the thing is that when it comes down to it, we are the ones that are in control, not you. You're making your money off your overtime right now. That's great. But how many people are going to hire you when you have Ferguson PD on your resume? Who's going to hire you when you have Ferguson PD on your resume? Okay? Nobody. So you can consider your career toast unless you take that badge off, you walk across the street, you protest with us until we indict Darren Wilson and we change. If you will do that, you have a career. You can, once we take over the government, you can start policing again. Until then, if you don't do it, you're gonna be just like us. You're gonna be unemployed. I don't wish this upon anybody. It's to me. I want them to wake up, hold their brothers accountable. If you see something wrong, tell them it's wrong. If they're locking people up for no reason, tell them that's wrong. You cannot say that you're a good police officer if you let bad things go. A good human being does not walk by a murderer and tell the murderer nothing.